Alright, hello everybody, welcome back. It is Jeff again, coming to you from the Minecraft vanilla server. And today, what are we going to do? We are going to make an automated pumpkin harvester. And I want to do that because I have some plans in mind for some pumpkins. Now, the main problem I have with this is I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head on how to make a piston again. Oh, it's iron. There we go. I need to make a bunch of these. More than 3 as well, but I will make the 3 that I have right now. I can't even do that, so oh well. Let's just make the 1 to get some more iron. Man, my item sorting system got really screwed up somewhere. One of the hoppers, it must have drained the wrong material because I found the placeholder block sitting in one of these chests, which really screwed things up for me. So I gotta go delve into exactly what happened with that in a little while, but that is definitely not what we're gonna do today. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna just focus on making this, and unfortunately, because of the issue with not being able to find the blocks that I need to find, I can't find we'll just make those. That should be plenty. I cannot find my repeaters, my redstone, my comparators, and I had like 26 of all of those things sitting around somewhere. I remember having them. I think some of them might have gotten lost to the death that happened to me. Somebody did comments on one of my videos that they couldn't believe that I was using a stone sword and asking why I'm part of Mindcrack if I was using a stone sword. Well, for one, I think you're mistaken on what equipment you were talking about because I have a diamond sword. I was using a stone sword at the beginning of an episode. I am using an iron pickaxe, but that's because the video I was doing that in was the one I went to go retrieve my stuff because I had gotten killed and lost all that stuff in an epic explosion and witch fight in a spawner. It wasn't really that epic. It was just I got snuck up on and killed, which kind of sucked. But if you are curious as to why I have such little equipment, that is why. And it is, you can go back and watch that video. It's a pretty entertaining ending if I do say so myself. But that being said, I need to find a place to make, you know what, let's go to the nether real quick. Let's go back to my beach property because maybe some of the stuff is over at the beach property that I'm looking for because I had a bunch of mine carts that I need to utilize. I mean, I have iron, I could make the minecarts, but I've searched through all these chests like 6 times, but I was not looking for the minecarts, so I might have just bypassed them. But I did bring a bunch of minecarts back from some of my excursions. Maybe they're in these chests, and maybe not. I can't find them. I do need this hopper, though, to go into the minecart. I'm going to make a little different of a design of a pumpkin farm. It might not be 100% productivity, but it's just because I need pumpkins, and I want pumpkins to be able to grow and be harvested while I'm just sitting there and, you know, doing other things in the base. So this will be the easiest way to do it, and I figure I'll bring you guys along for the ride while I'm doing it, while we look at this. But today marks a new chapter in my life. I started my new job, and it's interesting because my new job is essentially a job I had before, but it's just a higher position in that department. So it was kind of surreal that it's been a year and a half since I worked there, and it was kind of like, there's one of the minecarts. That is perfect because I want you, let's build you up right now. It's just interesting because a lot of the people on the floor are still there. They were like, hey, welcome back, Jeff. Like, it was pretty cool, but it's like surreal and just different to be back in a role that I didn't plan on really being back in, but it's pretty cool, and I think it's going to be really good. Here's all those minecarts. I knew that they would be here somewhere. I thought I just heard a creeper. I was getting scared. Couple of repeaters, which we should be fine. I don't know where I want to build this thing. I want to build this thing somewhere out of the way where it's still loaded in my base. I might actually dig down. Well, should I build it in the little farm area? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll build it in the ice farm area. And I'm not 100% certain on how to build it. I watched a real quick tutorial on it, and it looked pretty simple. So I'm just going to kind of try to do it from memory and see if I can build this thing. It's a really simple design and concept, and I like things that are simple and different, which is why I do some of the things the way I do them. Like the Connect 4 thing. I made the minecart jump because I thought it was cool. Like, simple and different. Like, not as many people do things like that, so I figured, why not give it a try? And so we'll go over here, and we will build it over here in this area where I already have some pumpkins. Hi, zombie. I have pumpkins planted right here. I only have the one horse. Should I just build it right here in this corner? And then expand this thing out if I need to expand it out. Look, there's the back of my base because I broke through some things and did that. God, it's so loud in here. Let's do friendly creatures. Much better. Now I can hear myself actually think, which is fantastic. I guess I could just build it in this corner. Leave that horse chilling there, and it's going to be back here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that for now. So it's going to go here. So while I'm building this, as I said, new chapter in my life, so that's like fun and exciting. So yesterday, I gotta tell you, sometimes things in life happen just casually are being, you know, said, and they just make you feel good and feel accomplished. And hi. Okay. Don't know why you randomly showed up there. But anyways, sometimes things in life just get said and they make you feel good about things that you've been doing. And I've recently had one of those experiences. So yesterday, I got to go out with the wonderful emergency department crew. They had posted up on Facebook that they were, a bunch of them were going to go get some, you know, get some drinks just to hang out outside of work, which I love it when groups do that, because a lot of people, you have work friends, quote unquote, and a lot of your work friends become they can become your real life friends. And I don't work with these people all the time, so I'm not in the department to be able to be like, hey, you know, let me know the plans. But when they post it on like a Facebook group or something like that, it's nice because it gives you the opportunity to know that there's something going on, that you can go hang out with people outside of work. And they were very happy that I went, which was great. And there was somebody actually from my old unit, my ICU unit, who's really good friends with a lot of people in the ED who happened to be there. I didn't know that. So that was awesome. I never got to hang out with her outside of work. So it was just a good time in general hanging out with these people. It was a really fun group of people that were out there. So I was excited and had a really good time. But one of the women, I should say, not girls. She's young, but you know, it's still one of the women. These people are, they're adults. They can be women, not girls. They can be whatever they want. I don't know what they like to go by. I don't know if people actually get offended by things like that. Like if you're a female and even older, yeah, both older and younger, I would like to know. I'd be curious to know what your thought process is on being called a girl versus a woman. Does it make you feel condescended? Is that a word? Is that a condescending term to call somebody a girl who is actually a woman? I'm not 100% sure on that. So I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying that. But she made a comment about people triaging. So work talk. People triaging. I need some dirt. And triaging in the emergency department means, you know, you're basically the first point of contact from a clinical standpoint to make the determination of how sick do I think you are, what team should you get seen on, do I need to get you back there right away, because are you like crashing as we speak, or do we have time to like allow you to, you know, sit and wait for a little while because you're not critical, because so we can take care of more critical people. Like that's the concept of what triage is. You sit there and you get people, you know, the determination of yeah. I love how they're dancing around like that. You make the determination of, you know, how sick they are and if they need to be seen right away. That's the point of your job. Man, I need actually something else too. And when you're triaging, there is a time frame that, or excuse me, not a time frame. There is circumstances when people are what they call a straight back. And a straight back is when you need to take somebody back right away. You need to take them straight back. Oh, you go figure. The concept straight back means you take them straight back. And that means they're sick. like sick. If they don't get help now, things are going to be problematic. So when you take a straight back, you take them to a room, and as a triage nurse, there's differences with how that goes sometimes. Oh man, why do I have so much garbage in my inventory? I always clear out my inventory before I start recording, and it just ends up getting filled up like in the first couple minutes. Right now I'm just doing some testing to make sure that this is going to work like I think it's going to work. And there's some differences in what people think is acceptable and how you deal with a straight back person from a triage standpoint. Some of the triage nurses are, you know what? Oh, I was going to say, is that like a cheaty way to make this thing grow all the way? That'd be hilarious. But it is apparently not. Now, from what I understand, the reason I'm doing this is because apparently when you put a lever here, if I push this pumpkin will break and not destroy this block. And I want to make sure that that is accurate. Okay, that is accurate. Because that is what this whole concept is based off of. So that is why I was doing that. And I need to put probably some water right here. And I'm always the type of person who I know the trials and tribulations of working in this department. And when I am in triage and take people straight back to rooms, I try my hardest to ensure that I will take them straight back to a room and try to do as much stuff for the team as I can, because I know when you are forced to take a straight back that you're not planning for, because that's the whole point of the emergency department when you have a straight back is you have all these patients on your board, and you know that you have all these patients on your board, and which means that they're waiting to be seen. And you can kind of plan, even despite how big it gets. If I've got all these level 2s and level 3s or people waiting out there, but they're not straight backs, that means I got some planning time that I could, in theory, spend waiting to get ready for the... Actually, can I do... Is this going to work right? I don't know. We'll find out with this whole water thing. Either way, you can plan your day around. I see the board's getting full, but we have these patients in here. We have these other patients waiting to be seen. I will take this patient when when this is the next one I'm going to be bringing back, etc., etc. Like, you can plan your day kind of like that. When you get a straight back, it screws up your whole plans. It screws up everything you've got going, because you now, despite what your plan was, you have to, for one, clear out a room in order to get the straight back dealt with, which you might not be ready for. If you coincidentally were discharging somebody or moving somebody to the floor, sure, you have an open room. But if you don't, you have to shuffle and make everything happen. I'm the type of person, because I know I've worked on both sides of it before, that I'm pretty sure this is what you're supposed to do. You take a patient back, you get them hooked up to the monitors, you do all this stuff to help out as much as you possibly can the team, because it's a team-based environment. You gotta make sure like the team is working together, or nothing will ever get accomplished and work right. You gotta work as a team in these situations, or nothing good will ever come out of it. Now, that being said, I take these people back, I get them hooked up to monitors, I'll do an EKG, I'll try to do all these things that need to get done, pending my time as well, because my time is also valuable. If we're super busy, I might have to go back up front, because I might have to be dealing with 20 other people who are sitting there. How do I have 28 blocks of quartz in my inventory all of a sudden? I don't know where I just picked those up from, but I might have all these other people that I need to go triage, or we're going to have like negative outcomes from the people who are, waiting in the waiting room, because we don't know if they're sick yet. If they're sitting out there and they haven't been triaged, that's the most dangerous time frame for a patient, because you don't know their state. You don't know their sickness level. They haven't been triaged. They haven't been examined by a clinician, so they could be dying and nobody knows, because we haven't seen them yet. So, there's definitely circumstances that happen when you might have to leave and not be able to accomplish all those things and help out the team as much as you wanted to, because you might need to go triage other people itself. It all depends on the circumstance and the time frame. But I try my hardest, and I always thought I did a pretty, decent job at it. And sometimes I would feel really bad. I'd be like, I know you guys are slammed, but I'm sorry. There is a straight back patient right now that needs to get taken care of at this very moment. I'm looking at this design and realizing I don't know how I'm supposed to accomplish what I'm trying to do right now. If I make this thing so I hook it up to that. I'm trying to figure out where to put. You're supposed to put a signal going into. So if I do this, and a pumpkin grows here, it should trigger all this stuff to start. Hold on, let me see. If I do this and then just put. Oh, I can't put that on there. Well, you can put it on top of itself. How do you do this again? I will come back to this. Hold on one second. By the way, the tutorial I'm looking at is by a guy named Guude, and it's a pretty good tutorial, and I just figured out what I did wrong. So I'll put the link to it in the description. Like I said, I just looked at the basics of it, and now I'm going to kind of go from there. And this one is special, this first one, because it needs to have the piston above, not... Shoot. Piston needs to be above it so that there's room. The thing that I was missing is I couldn't figure out where to put, if I put this repeater in that particular location. I couldn't get it to actually make the connection go through here, this pumpkin. But it comes back here, which then will ensure somehow that I get all these things. I hope I don't run into the outside right here. This isn't going to run all this stuff. I could have sworn that you could put the redstone right on top of this, but I'm completely mistaken in that. So what did I do that's different here? Oh, you know what? I think it just goes... Does it go behind it? No, because that still won't... I could put a bunch of repeaters behind it, but that would... Because this won't run it either. Why do I always have problems with, like, stupid... See, because that's going to light that up. I would need to go... I think this is going to be my best bet is actually going to be to do this. And every other one of these. I'm going to have to put a repeater on. This is definitely not the way that I had planned on doing this, but this will work for the time being. It uses all my repeaters though, but that should be okay. So there we go. And I need to somehow make this actually trigger this one above it as well, but I think we can do that with half slabs. Maybe? I'm getting all quiet because I thought I had this all worked out and planned. Well, I don't need that. And why that will not work. So how about... Come on! Why do you not want to do this in the right way? Oh, you're horrible! You're horrible. What am I doing wrong here? I could just put a repeater. This really is frustrating me because I know this is a very simple thing to do and I can't make it work. I can't make it function because I'm just having a brain fart. I'm just getting that in there. Either way. What I was talking about before was, you know, the whole triage aspect, and I guess they were complaining at that some people had just gotten off of work at the bar and were, you know, drinking, having a good time after, you know, they had, you know, just gotten off of work and things like that. But one of the people brought up the fact that they were complaining because all the people lately in triage have been doing nothing, and they haven't been, like, they just been walking patients back and being like, here's your patient, and, like, walking away, and that's all there is to it. Man, you guys spawn quick. And they were getting really frustrated about it. And where I started to feel really good about how I've been doing things is the one girl said, I use you as an example all the time, Jeff. And I was like, what are you talking about? And she goes, because you always help us out and... Oops, shoot. That is not the one I can do. She said, you always help us out all the time, and you do, you know, so much work when you're... Oops. When you're doing the triages, that you constantly are... How the heck did I just do that again? That you're constantly making sure that we have all the things that we need, and you do the extra... You go the extra mile and do the EKGs and things like that. And she said that she specifically will tell some of the nurses when they come in, she'll be like, why didn't you help us out at all with this? You know, Jeff would have done that for us. Jeff does, you know, this, Jeff does that. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. She's like, no, I'm serious. She's like, I throw your name out there constantly and ask people, I say that you do that for us. Why can't they help us out and do that stuff? And she's talking in time frames when there actually is time. It's not like she's talking in a time frame when there is no time to do this stuff. She's talking in one of those time frames where there is actually an element of time. And I'll tell you, that makes you feel really good because... What the hell is going on? Is this BTC's, like, monster hole? There's so much stuff over here. Okay, I'm really confused. I'm gonna go try to look at exactly where this is at. Okay, I think this is BTC's monster hole. Yeah, he did. He made a giant dark room. No, I can't close that one off. To make sure, like, things didn't spawn in crazy areas, I'll have to change that dirt over. Which I think at one point I went through and lit up, and people got really mad at me because they were like, BTC made that so monsters wouldn't spawn in his base, and you just ruined it. And so I shouldn't probably ruin it again. God damn it. But yeah, so the story that I'm trying to tell here, albeit very slowly because I'm having a real big brain fart with getting, like, piston wiring to happen right, but that's okay. That's I can fix the piston wiring. It's really not that big of a deal. I shouldn't focus on it too much. But the story I'm trying to say is, yeah, I try really hard to make sure I make things as easy for my coworkers, as safe for the patients and all this stuff that I possibly can. And where I'm lucky is this stuff is actually getting noticed by my coworkers. Like, they're very appreciative of the things that I'm actually doing for them, which I feel is, like I said, it makes me feel really, really good to know that my coworkers see what I do and appreciate what I do, because it's the things that they want to make sure are done as well. And it's sometimes you get that positive reinforcement in what you're doing, that you know what you're doing is actually, like, helpful and succeeding, and that's all I usually want out of things. I want things to be able to be like, okay, so there we go. I want things to be able to function for everybody. That is the ultimate goal of what we do. We do things to make it so that people are safe, that everybody is taken care of in the best way they possibly can. And I'll tell you, it's just really nice. And it's, some people always want positive reinforcement. There's a lot of people who constantly just demand positive reinforcement, or else they won't do their job right. And in today's day and age, you don't necessarily get that. You don't have management coming up to you and being like, hey, you did a really good job on this stuff, like, keep it up. I mean, it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen. It does happen, you know, sometimes, so that's always nice when it does. But no. Oh, come on. You're gonna inch yourself along. We'll see. We'll see if it actually inches itself to where it needs to go. But when you actually hear it from quote unquote the horse's mouth, that the things that you're accomplishing are making people happy and making their jobs easier, and that people actually appreciate what you're doing, it really is that good feeling, and you don't get that all the time, so it's really nice. But now I have to keep in mind, like, that's where it's weird, because now I'm in a management role. I am no longer a bedside nurse. I am a manager, and I know that people do like positive reinforcement, so I need to make sure that I give my employees, the people that are working under me, the positive reinforcement to help them want to do their job better. Because whenever you tell anybody that what they're doing is good and it's helpful, it makes them want to do it more, because people like positive reinforcement. I don't care who you are. Some people are like, I don't give a you don't need to praise me. I don't care. That stuff doesn't, like, it doesn't help me out at all. Oh no. Is this glitch not working anymore? The whole point of this contraption is that hopper minecarts are supposed to be able to pick up things from the blocks. Wait, that one got picked up. Did I send the wrong block? That's really weird. Maybe I need to... Why would it pick up from this one, but not from this one? That's really strange. I don't get it. Maybe this thing just doesn't work like it used to work. Maybe I just wasted a bunch of my time. Well, okay, I've failed relatively miserably at this entire project, I think, but I'm gonna set it to grow anyway, and now that it is set to grow, I will just start gaining more pumpkins and have to come in and manually break them and pick them up or something until I can figure out what I'm doing wrong. But for now, I'm going to let it run. I'm completely unsure of what I'm doing. And as you guys know, if you follow my channel, I'm the biggest redstone genius and Minecraft god that's ever existed. Obviously, that is sarcasm. I mainly tell stories and ramble on for way too long about the same concept, which is what I feel like I did today. I'm really tired, actually, today, too, because I've been on night shift, and now I just started this, day shift job, and really throwing off my schedule. But that being said, I gotta call this episode here, guys. I'm sorry for rambling, but hopefully you enjoyed the story. And if you're going to take anything away from this story, give your coworkers some positive feedback of things they actually do. Like the little things that people just do on a day-to-day basis. Don't just be like, oh, hey, you're doing a good job, just because you feel like telling them they're doing a good job. But if there is something little that they do that is helping you out, make sure they know. Make sure they know how much you appreciate what they do, because it's going to make sure that they will want to do it more. And they might stop doing it because they'll feel like, not because they're not getting the reinforcement that they need, but they might feel like what they're doing isn't as helpful. And if it's taking them all that extra time to go through and do something, and they don't realize it's actually helping out, they might be like, man, I'm wasting my time, because they obviously don't even care. Like, it's not even helping them, so why would I do it anymore? Not because they're being negative and bad, but just because they're trying to be more efficient. But if you let them know, like, no, this is really helpful, thank you so much for continuing to do this, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, cool. It's what I'm doing is working, so I'll keep doing it. So that being said, thanks, guys, for watching. Long story. See you guys next time.